Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our Speakers Demo Reel webinar series. For the demo teaching today, the topic will be on United Nations, History and its Mission. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. We will be posting the Zoom link in the comment section before our demo teaching, and the first 5 participants to join the Zoom meeting will be allowed to have close interaction with the speaker during the session and have an open forum after the demo teaching. The first 5 participants will serve as the students for the speaker's demo reel. For those who will be chosen, please make sure that you participate actively, turn off your microphones until asked to turn on. Participants will serve as the students for the speakers. Good day again, Kavibal, and welcome to our Speakers Demo Reel webinar series. For the discussion today, the topic will be on United Nations, History and its Mission. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. If you'd like to join our Speakers Demo Reel, the Zoom link is already posted in our comment section. Also, make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to all our Vibal webinars. Again, if you'd like to join our speakers demo reel, the Zoom link is already posted in our comment section. Experience learning the Vibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. Dr. Marie Margot Ann Palencia is a licensed professional teacher, a SPED teacher and advocate for 20 years. She finished a psychology degree with distinction from the Philippine Normal University, and she obtained postgraduate course in Master in Arts major in Special Education from the De La Salle University, Manila. She obtained her second postgraduate course in Masters in Education, major in School Administration from RTSI-MI. She completed her doctorate degree in education from the same university. She is currently completing her PhD in SPED degree from St. Joseph's College, Quezon City. Currently, the school principal of a progressive education preschool Kids Coco in Ortigas. She is the Executive Director of Academic Training and Learning Center in Quezon City. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our dear speaker, Dr. Marie Margot Ann Palencia.
Thank you so much for that introduction again, Miss G. And thank you again, Vibal, for having me. And welcome mga kabibal. Welcome mga ka-teach sa another learning session here no, sa demo reel natin. So for today, we're gonna talk about United Nations. I know that you all know this already. We know all the concepts, but of course, there's a different thing that's going on now, and we have this pandemic learning mode. And maybe the thing that I'm going to share with you today could give you some insights on how can we make some twists, some tweaks to the lessons that we're doing, and how can we use some of the assistive technologies that we have, or what we call the educational technology that we have, and maybe how are we going to use websites online like this to our advantage. Okay, so for those who are interested in joining the class, the Zoom link is already posted, so please come and join me so I'll have my students on board. Thank you. So I hope you see my screen. Do we have students already? Okay, so while we're waiting for the students, so for the demo reel today, again brought to you by Vibal, it's about United Nations because it's October, and normally, if it's not in the pandemic learning mode, we are very busy doing our programs, di ba po, malamang pinapractice na natin yung ating mga candidates. We have programs. I remember when I was in high school, I really don't like all these pageants, but when your teacher asks you to do so, you have to join. So back in the days, I also had my fair share of moments in the Miss United Nations pageant. I remember I was in third year high school, and I need to represent my class and become Miss Philippines. And remembering that, I thought United Nations is all about pageants and all about the programs, preparing such. But I chose this topic for today because there's more to it, especially this time of pandemic. So for the teachers out there, I guess I have one student already. So come and join. Madali lang po ito. I will also share with you some edutech that you can use, no, para maging mas interactive, no. When we teach social science, history, sometimes the attention of the students is really hard to get. Okay, so before, this is to give credit also to the United Nations theme of 2021. So International Day of Peace, recovering better for an equitable and sustainable world. So we all know that the challenge nowadays is to recover from everything and, to have a sustainable world. Even here in the Philippines, what we're doing now is we are already having lowering down our measures from alert level 4. We are now in alert level 3 because we have to have a sustainable world. We have to do to have a sustainable development in economy. So this is what we're going to talk about. So if you like to have this demo or this presentation in your respective classes, I think this is the best time until the end of October. Who knows, you can even make parades, of different costumes or food or the things that we will think of. We can think of even if it's virtual. But I want to remind everybody that let's take this United Nation thing seriously, because it is also an organization that is helping us out in this time of pandemic. And when I chose this topic also, and I was reading in the website of UN, I also felt that, oh, I should have known this, for a long time. I know that it's an organization, but I've learned so much, and I really like to share it with you that United Nations is really doing a lot of things for the world. Okay, so for the teachers out there, so you can have your lesson, United Nations, History and Mission. You can change the topic if you want to. And the subject, this is for social studies or for history classes, just to, have a different approach in it. And the time you can use this is for good for one class period. So it's up to you how long you're gonna do it, but 45 minutes to 60 minutes, it's up to you. And then the level, it could be from grades 9 to 10 or grade 8. It's up to you. You can lower down the task. Okay. So for the objectives, our lesson objectives for today, uh, understand the history and basic operation of the United Nations. I guess this is very important to share to our students the history and the basic operations of United Nations. And I think this is the time also that we understand, or our young learners, they are still young because they're still in high school, right? Or in junior high school. They should understand what is this United Nations all about, that this is more than just a school program. Understand the mission and the goals of the United Nations, identify the different countries who are the members of the organization, and be proud that the Philippines is actually a member of the UN. Understand the accomplishments of the United Nations, and analyze the purpose of United Nations. Who knows, one day we might want to work with United Nations. When I was preparing this demo reel, I told myself I should have, I would like to work with the UN if given a chance, no? Okay. So, do you have students already? Ayan. Okay, hello. We're gonna start. Hi, Giancarlo. Hi, Bertine. Am I right? Can you hear me? Can you turn on your microphones, please?
Yes po, yes po.
Hi, good
Hello
afternoon.
po.
So we're gonna start our class. Okay, so just the two of you. Maybe your classmates doesn't have internet yet. They don't have a okay. So we will start this one with I want you to look at some pictures on the screen and tell me, because we are so used of United Nations with costumes, right? What for example, John, what do you remember when it's United Nations? Anybody? What do you remember when it's October and it's time for United Nations? Okay, since okay, someone's raising his hand. Yes.
I remember that we have to create flags and wear costumes that are according to the different countries that we have.
Yes, Miss G. It's the time where we see a lot of flags, and then everybody's preparing for costumes, right? And we are cheering for our country that our class is representing. So let us start and reminisce our discussion with some of the pictures. Okay, so when you see this costume, who do you remember? What country do you think this man is representing? Anybody?
United States?
Yes, United States. Correct. And then how about this one? Just to get, you can guess. What do you think? What do you think? Which country? wears this kind of
United
costume?
Kingdom?
United Kingdom. Very good. Okay, next. How about this one? We normally see this costume when there's colonization movies. Okay. This is the national costume of France for male. Okay. How about this one? Anybody wants to try? Costume. Okay, this is the national costume of Soviet Union or Russia. Okay, this one I know for sure. You know this very well. Okay, this one. National costume of what?
China.
Yes, China. Ni hao ma. Okay, so what does it represent? It means that every country has a different style, different history, different culture that each and every country has to respect. Do you agree with me? See, from the costume itself, there's a difference between the costume for sure. There's also difference in terms of values, in terms of food. So how can we make all of these countries? Our lesson for today is, how can these countries all together be on the same page? Or paano sila magiging united? And why do we need some unity? Bakit kailangan ng unity ng mga bansa? Bakit hindi na lang tayo magkanya-kanya? Pwede naman. Pero bakit natayo ang United Nations? Alright? So, tandaan nyo what are the 5 countries na tiningnan natin today? United States of America. We have United Kingdom. We have France. We have Soviet Union, and we have People's Republic of China. So remember those 5. Why? These are the 5 countries in which they are constant members of the Security Council of the United Nations. You see, now we know what is a Security Council. We always think of United Nations as a program. We always think United Nations is just to be celebrated. But actually, United Nations is an organization. And those 5 countries, United States of America, United Kingdom, France, Soviet Union, and People's Republic of China, are the 5 constant members of the Security Council of the United Nations. Later on in the discussion, we're going to talk about this. What is the Security Council? What does it do? And aside from United Nations, meron pang Security Council. So pag-uusapan natin yan for today. Okay, so what do you know about United Nations? Okay, anybody from my class, when we think of United Nations, what comes into your mind? Aside from the programs, anybody? You know, just talk po. Okay. According to Joville, yes, it ensures peace. Yes, it ensures peace. Any other? I already have how many students now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anybody? What else? When we think of United Nations, for example, there's an earthquake, and then they will say, "Oh, United Nations is already here." Why are they there? Why would they come?
Oh, to help each other?
Okay, to help each other, and basically to extend help, right? To extend help to those who are in need. Anything else? Maybe some of you, pagkakaisa at pagtutulungan ng mga bansa. That's from Philomer. Yes. So United Nations, at least United Nations, we know that this is not just a mere program, but instead it is an organization composed with many people that ensures peace. It also help other nations. Okay, tama yung mga sagot ninyo, no? It makes the world, of course, according to them, they want a healthy planet, which is secured, which is healthy. So they want a healthy planet. Okay, thank you for your answer. So, according to the United Nations, this is actually their priority. Yes, that's very good. Actually, tama yun, Philomer, no? United Nations was actually created, or it was founded right after the World War II, because they wanted to ensure na hindi na mauulit yung mga digmaan na ganun. Kasi 'di ba, ano bang nangyari sa World War II? It was very very devastating, 'di ba? Talagang dark ages siya. Ngayon, maraming nahirapan, maraming nagkagalit-galit ng mga bansa, 'di ba? Ngayon, before that, ginawa muna nila yung League of Nations. That was the first one. Okay, pag-usapan natin yan a little later. But United Nations was the second attempt. Pero the first thing that happened was talagang gusto nila wag nang magkakaroon ng mga war o ng mga digmaan. So this is what United Nations wants. No, you see the logo of United Nations in the middle. It wants peace and security, human rights, and sustainable development. Of course, development of each nation, because if there's development, there's no development, how can a country survive? Okay? Thank you for your answers. Okay, now, what do we also do? What do they do? You know, these are facts. What do they do in United Nations? Okay, first, these are countries. Sabi kanina, no? You will see there, peace and security, human rights, and sustainable development. And then what do they do? These are representatives from different countries. Not all countries are members of the United Nations. Okay? But those members, including the 5 that we were talking about kanina, yung USA, yung UK, yung Soviet Union, yung France, at yung People's Republic of China, sila yung may mga constant seats talaga dyan sa organization na yan, no? So what do they do? And then you will see different flags. It means that these are members of the council. So they talk to each other. When they talk to each other, they agree on something. They make rules. They make agreements so that there will be no conflict among nations. That's why from 1945, you know, the World War was around 1939, up to now, 1945, naiiwasan talaga natin yung mga conflicts, no, sa mga bansa tulad tayo. We know that we have some disputes with our waters, no, yung ating waters, you know, nagkakaroon tayo ng disputes with other countries. Hindi siya sumisiklab sa isang digmaan dahil merong mga ganitong organization. For example, ang Pilipinas at ang People's Republic of China ay parehong member ng United Nations. Therefore, they can always talk about it. All right? So, what do they do there? They talk. They discuss matters. May mga inaano pa nga sa kanila, mga sinasubmit kung may mga dispute between countries, we can talk it over. They can talk it over there. Okay. Next. Now, sinasabi dito, we have sustainable development goals also. So, these are the 17 sustainable goals of United Nations. You know, I was preparing for this lesson. I said, napakaganda naman pala talaga ng ginagawa ng United Nations, ano. Although hindi lahat po ng tao o lahat din ng ibang organisasyon ay gusto yung ginagawa. Of course, there's no perfect organization. There are always loopholes. There are moments that they will fall short. But of course, sa akin po kasi, at least, no, sa atin, no, and my dear students, meron namang gumagawa. Imagine kung walang gumagawa, 'di ba? Paano na lang? So, these are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that United Nations is working on. Number 1, no poverty, although that's a little impossible for us to do. But at least the things that they are doing is gearing towards no poverty, zero hunger. So those countries that doesn't have food, naghihirap, marami tayong mga bansang ganyan eh. Akala natin mahirap na ang Pilipinas pero meron pa, no? I have a friend who's an engineer who's working in Haiti. he told me that when people are hungry there, they even made mud cakes. Mud cakes, yung putik, nilalagyan ng asin, tapos pinapatuyo, tapos kinakain nila. Just imagine that. And we don't really experience that much here in the Philippines, And then number 3, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, which is a very, very crucial issue also. See, clean water and sanitation, because there are countries that doesn't have clean water at all. No, we have affordable and clear energy, and this is also, for us now, my dear students, for us to know this, let us all feel blessed also that some of these things hindi natin nararanasan, and we have to do our share also kung ano yung magagawa natin so to make sustainable development also for our countries, 'di ba? Ayan, decent work and economic growth. They have industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Kaya may mga infrastructure minsan na merong tulong yung United Nations. Ayan, reduce inequalities, no? Now we give equal opportunities for the women, ganyan. And hindi lang sa women, we give equal opportunities for those differently abled. Yan, no? Mga nangyayari na yan ngayon. Sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, even the climate action, imagine, no? Talagang tinitingnan nila, hindi lang isang aspeto ng buhay ng isang bansa, no? They even have concerns on life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institution and partnership for the goals. That's why we also have partnerships with other countries. Nag-i-invest sila sa ating bansa because these are all part. It's like, when you are in the United Nations, parang marami yung kakampi mo, marami yung umaalalay sa'yo. And so, this is a realization pala, no, na during our United Nations program, hindi ito isang kompetisyon. Kung hindi ito ay isang celebration of countries pushing for 17 development goals going just in one direction, no matter how many countries we are. So let us all think of that. No, na this is not a competition between another country, but instead, we have to help each other because we are all members of this institution. Okay. So, another thing is, even though United States of America, United Kingdom, France are all big countries, People's Republic of China and Soviet Union, these are big continents, these are big countries, they are powerful countries. That's why they are the constant, in the seats, or they have constant seats, in the council. But still, during General Assembly of the United Nations, every country has one vote. They have equal right to decide, and that is actually under the Constitution of the United Nations and also in the UN Charter. So may mga bylaws, may mga constitution na nakasulat, at lahat, everybody gets an equal right to decide. Again, that is for equality. Okay, so ang busy pala ng United Nations. Akala natin, naririnig lang natin yung United Nations kapag October. Pero yun pala, they even convene, every year they convene from September to December, planning for the next year. That's how serious they are with this work. Okay, then, now let's talk about the Security Council. Kanina pinag-usapan natin, meron tayong 5, no? Meron tayong 5 mga bansa, no, na kung saan sila yung constant members of the Security Council. So, ang United Nations kasi ay merong 6 bodies or 6 organs of the United Nations. So, pag-usapan natin yan. First is the General Assembly. The second is the Secretariat. The third is the Security Council. The fourth is the International Court. 5 is the Economic Council and Trustee Council. So, meron 5. Bukod sa United Nations as a whole, meron pa tayong mga iba't ibang organs. So again, may iba't ibang trabaho. Let's talk about that. Okay, the General Assembly, this is the policy-making organ of the United Nations, appointing the Secretary General. So merong Secretary General ang United Nations. So if we watch maybe their press conference, you will see that the one who's going to speak is the Secretary General of the Security Council. They also elect the non-permanent members of the Security Council. Remember na merong 5 permanent, meron 10 non-permanent kasi ang members po ng Security Council ay 15. So even the Philippines could be part of it, no? And then they also approve the UN budget. So that's what the General Assembly makes. Okay, next, the Secretariat. It carries out the day-to-day work of the UN mandated by the GA. The head of the Secretariat is the Secretary General, and it also works with the different branches and organs of the UN. So the Secretariat is the one working day to day, implementing all the things that the General Assembly has talked about or has approved. Okay, next, the Security Council. Its primary responsibility is to maintain the international peace and security. So here we go. No? Imagine the Security Council wherein yung 5 countries na yun ay members, yung kaninang binanggit ko, but it has 15 members and each member has a vote. What is their primary responsibility? That is to maintain international peace and security. Kaya hindi nag-aaway-away yung mga bansa kasi they have to meet, they have to deliberate all those things. Sabi nga, no, it takes the lead in determining the existence of a threat through the peace or act of aggression. So before sumiklab pa yung mga hindi pagkakaunawaan between countries, the Security Council will step in. Okay, so napakahalaga. Okay, class, remember all these things. I might be asking this in our output work. Okay, next, we also have an international court. So we have 6, we are on the 4th. International court, this is the principal judicial organ of the UN. If you have heard of Hague, nandito po yun sa International Court. Diba? Na-award sa atin yung Scarborough. Diba? Naaalala ninyo? Dahil nanalo tayo sa Hague. Dito po yun nangyari. Okay, to settle in accordance with international laws, yan, legal disputes submitted by each state. So yung mga states, when we talk of states, these are the countries, no, that has presidents, prime ministers, ganyan. Nagsasubmit sila sa international court and then pinag-uusapan ito ng international court, no. Meron din itong mga judges kung saan sila yung nagde-deliberate. Okay, the court decides dispute between countries based on voluntary participation of the states concerned. So ibig sabihin wala po ditong sapilitan, no? Kasi again, this is an organization and kaya siya binuo kasi nga gusto natin na wala tayong mga hindi pinagkakaunawaan. Ayan. Okay, next is Economic and Social Council. So it is dedicated to sustainable development. This is one of the things that I like dun sa ginagawa ng UN. As Economic and Social Council, if I'm gonna work in UN, given a chance, I would work in this organ, Economic and Social Council. So it is dedicated to sustainable development for economic, social, and environmental areas. So, yung pinag-usapan natin kaninang 17, yun, nasa kanila yun. Paano nila yun magagawa? Okay, and the last one is Trusteeship Council. Okay, this is to supervise the administration of trust territories as they transition from colonies to sovereign nations. Remember before, meron tayong mga bansa, no? Meron tayong mga bansa na they were colonies of another country and then eventually naibigay yung kanilang kalayaan. Halimbawa po, ang Singapore, dati they belong to Malaysia, eventually they become a country, and then may mga ano pa ba, yung mga countries sa Caribbean Islands, ganun. So from colonies to sovereign nations until magkaroon na sila ng sovereignty, yan, ito po yung Trusteeship Council ang umaalalay sa kanila hanggang sa maging isang bansa na din sila. Tayo po, dumaan din tayo sa ganito, di ba? We were colonized and then eventually, now we are the Republic of the Philippines. Therefore, we have our sovereignty. Okay. So, yan no? So, kanina, ito, going back here, the Security Council, ayan siya. What do they talk about? They talk about human rights. You know, we hear it on the news na tayo minsan may mga kaso tayo of human rights ng mga politicians natin. Yan, dyan po dinadala yan. And then, Charter of the United Nations, yun nga kung ano ba yung laws ng United Nations. And of course, ang pinag-uusapan talaga natin dito is how can they maintain and assure peace amongst these countries. Okay, now let's talk about facts and data about United Nations. I hope that you are really, getting the gist of this lesson. Gusto ko na mapukaw din yung damdamin inyo, katulad ng pagkapukaw ng damdamin ko na kailangan pala makiisa tayo kung may magagawa tayo dun sa mga sustainable development goals, at saka dapat pala kahit medyo bata pa ako, alam ko pala kung ano yung United Nations, this is just not a mere program. Okay, now let's talk about the accomplishments and what are actually the facts about United Nations. Okay, it was founded on October 24, 1945 after the World War, and it's still running up to the present. Okay, now, and if you are going to be asked, where is the headquarters of New York City? Well, its headquarters is in New York City or the Big Apple. And then areas of involvement, ano talaga yung mga tinututukan ng United Nations ay human rights, economic development, international relations, equality, and trust territory. And, to prove that United Nations is really doing their job, they have won a Nobel Prize. And alam niyo naman, pag nanalo kayo ng Nobel Prize, ibig sabihin, you have contributed something that is very significant, to the world. Okay? Okay, and then here are some of the accomplishments. So para alam lang din natin, about 91 million people received food and other assistance from the World Program or a branch of United Nations. So they give food to countries, they even give medical assistance to countries, around 67 countries every year receive assistance with elections from UN, yung mga medyo magugulo nating mga bansa na may mga civil war, yan, pumupunta dyan yung mga United Nations, yung mga Peace Corps na tinatawag natin. Ayan. And then 45% of children worldwide received vaccines, including polio vaccine, which is very important, from the UN agencies. Okay. The assistance to countries, around 67 countries every. Okay. Now, aside from, although, as I've said a while ago, kahit na parang dami naman din ginagawa talaga ng UN, there are still, kumbaga sa lahat nga, di ba sabi, kapag may basher ka pa din. So, there are still criticisms, left and right, of what the United Nations is doing. So that sometimes they will say UN falls short or UN needs to change. And with that, here's your what you're going to do for your output of this lesson. So this is research and make a presentation. So I want you to research on what are some areas of concerns that makes United Nations fall short. So you have to give some examples of how United Nations fall short, and then you have to present it next week. Okay, so I'm giving you ample time to do this. So let's have research and presentation. So that would be your homework. Okay, now let's go to our summary. Okay, are my students still awake? Hello? Andyan pa ba ang aking mga mag-aaral? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Sige, mahina siguro yung internet ni Joel. Sige.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ang cute ng boses mo. Okay, sige. Let's try this. Remember, I said I like the economic and social council. No? So let us just try this activity. So amongst the 17, identify whether if it's economic, social, or environmental development from the 17. Okay, you can just tell me your answers or type it on the chat box. Okay, no poverty. This is wrapping up our lesson for today. No poverty. Where would it be? Okay. Social can be. Yes, but when we talk of poverty, this is about economy. You just have to tell me, is it economic, social, or environmental? No poverty. Yes, it could be social, but no poverty is more of economic. Okay? How about zero hunger?
Social, ma'am.
Social. Okay. How about good health and well-being?
Social, ma'am.
Okay. Quality education.
Social, ma'am.
Social, ma'am.
Puro social ah. Palitan na natin yung... Okay, gender equality.
Social, ma'am.
Clean water and sanitation.
Environmental, ma'am.
Environmental.
Very good. How about affordable and clean energy?
Environmental, ma'am.
Okay. Decent work and economic growth.
Economic, ma'am.
Economics.
Okay. How about this one? Industry, innovation, and infrastructure.
It could be economic and social, ma'am.
This is economic, okay? Okay, how about reduce inequalities?
Social, ma'am.
Okay, sustainable cities and communities.
Environmental.
Environmental.
This could also be economic, okay? How about responsible consumption and production?
Environmental.
Yes,
believe.
environmental, yes. How about climate action?
Environmental, ma'am.
Environmental.
Life below water?
Environmental, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for those classmates also that are answering on chat. Thank you. How about life on land?
Environmental, ma'am.
Okay. Peace,
Environmental.
justice, and strong institutions.
Social, ma'am.
Yes, social. And then the last one, partnership for the goals. Partnership with other countries.
Social, ma'am.
Social, it could be social or it could also be economic because when we have good partnership with countries, we will get more investments, di ba? Then they can, di ba ganun kasi nangyayari yun eh. Kapag we have partnerships with other countries, pumapayag din sila na magpadala tayo ng manpower doon, ganyan. Okay? So, what can you say about the works of United Nations upon learning it today? What can you say about it? What have you learned today? Wala. Okay, anyways, thank you for responding. And now, okay, so what are the facts that you have learned today about the United Nations? Okay, please write your answers on the sticky notes of the Jumper. Okay, I will stop sharing muna. And then I will share in the chat box yung ating link. Okay po. Tapos dun po kayo sasagot. As I've told you, you can make use of some educational technology, and what I'm using today that you can use also po is Jamboard. Ayan. Sige, I'll be sharing you this. Okay, try to access it po. Try to access that, my dear students. Okay, so for our viewers naman po, ganito po yung itsura niyan sa Jamboard. Ganyan po. Ayan. So the students can get a sticky note here. Ayan. What the question is, what facts or data have you learned today? So you can write, for example, I have learned about the members of the Security Council. And then they can save it. And then malalagay po yan dito. Ayan, you can make it bigger. Ayan. Tapos all the students can put one sticky. Come on, my dear students, try. Click that link and then you'll arrive to this, and then you can choose. I have learned the 17 sustainable goals of the United Nations. Click save. Okay, so your students can start putting or writing some of their answers. Yan. Hanggang sa mapuno po yan, and then you can share it on the screen. And then, this is just for you to be cooperative. They can even post pictures here if you want to make some, but for me, I like using this po na, na sticky notes, ganyan. Just for the students then to have it. And then, they can screenshot this and then they can review it. Ganyan. You can post your questions po dito na kung ano man yung gusto ninyo, and then they can write it. Real time po ito. You can use Jamboard. Ayan. So, baka mahina yung connection ng ating mga students. So, you can just keep on putting different sticky notes here. The basic purpose of the United Nations is to prevent war between countries. And so if you're tired of the recitation thing lang, yan, you can use this one, and then you can share it on the screen. Okay, so thank you for your answers. Yan. Hi, ma'am. Need po na access para daw maka-edit kami. Okay, sorry kung ganon. Anyways, you can try. You can try po. That one, it's an educational technology thing. Jamboard po yung pangalan niya. Jamboard. So that's all for today. Don't forget to do your assignment, and thank you for all your inputs. And that's the end of the lesson. Thank you, class. Thank you. And see you again. Ayan po. Miss G.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you po. By the way, I'll be sending you this PowerPoint po. So baka you want to use it in your classes.
Thank you very much, Teacher Margot. Thank you very much to our very active participants. While our speaker is sending her PowerPoint presentation in our chat box, it's time for our question and answer portion. So if our YouTube viewers have any questions here, you may type in your questions po in our comment section in our chat box. While our teachers here in the Zoom meeting, if you have questions for our speaker, pwede rin po tayo mag-type in our chat box, or you may directly ask our speaker by turning your microphones on. Alright, so we have a question from our YouTube viewer, from Sir Joseph Odelon Hermitanyo. Magandang araw po, Ma'am Margo. Ito po ang aking tanong. Madalas po itong nangyayari sa mga United Nations pageant sa mga students. Bakit po mas gusto nilang makuha ang mismong bansa natin na Pilipinas sa mga pageant?
Sir, siguro, when it comes to the pageant, they want our country kasi unang-una, yung access sa national costume mas madali. Tsaka syempre, mas kabisado natin yung ating bansa. So, mas gusto nila yung Pilipinas. Yun nga po, again, sabi ko nga kanina, there is really misleading dito sa ating mga pageants, ano, na hindi pala dapat ito isang competition bagkus ito ay dapat celebration of countries being one. Parang ganun po. Pero madalas po talaga Pilipinas kasi mas madali po mag-access ng history natin, mas kabisado natin, mas marami tayong pwedeng magawa kasi Pilipino tayo eh. So talaga pong pag-aagawan ng Pilipinas. Ayun po.
Thank you very much, Teacher Margo. Our next question is from Robert Banghulot. Ano po ang suggested nyong activities ngayon po na online na lang po ang ating classes at hindi na po magagawa yung usual activities sa school?
Sa akin po no, sa mga ganito no, lalo na sa social studies, yan po, we can make some timelines. Gumamit po tayo ng mas maraming graphic organizers. Tapos po, ayan po, we can make a project-based po na mga activities. Pero we have to give them time. Hindi yung bukas ipapasa na, we can give them a week. Tapos po ngayon, kung tutuusin, dahil may access na sila sa internet, pwede po tayong mag-access ng mga websites. Marami pong websites kung saan sabay-sabay na pwedeng i-access ng ating mga estudyante na kung saan ito ay interactive. Yun po. And then, sir, I would suggest also for you to explore din po ang educational technology po. Katulad po ng Jamboard. Marami po tayo yan. May Mentimeter. Pwede po nating magawa yan para po mas maging engaging or interactive po. Meron din po tayong Flipgrid. May mga ganyan po kung saan it's like an Instagram of your own class. Pwede po nating magamit yun. Pero po, gumamit po tayo ng project-based learning. Ayan, masasuggest ko, inquiry-based learning. Yan po yung mga magaganda pong approach ngayon. Kahit anong subject pa po yung ating itinuturo. Pero, lalo na po for social studies, I think project-based and inquiry-based is very good. Kasi you can make some hypotheses, they have to investigate on it, ganyan. Yan po.
Thank you very much, Teacher Margo. That's all the questions that we have in our YouTube channel. For our teachers here in the Zoom meeting, do you have any questions?
Meron po dito, Miss G, ano po ang posibilidad na mangyari kung walang UN? Unang-una po, kung walang UN, una-una walang gagawa ng mga pagpapakain ng 91 million na mga tao na nagugutom, no? At tingin ko, mahihirapan din po yung mga bansa kasi mahihirapan tayong mag-convene. Kasi alam naman natin kung gaano kahirap mag-convene yung mga head of the states. Hindi man po lahat ay membro ng UN, pero at least maraming bansa yung members nito. Mas madali pong nagkakaugnayan yung mga bansa, no? So, tingin ko, pag walang UN, for sure may ibang organization naman na darating, no? Pero ibig sabihin, I think what they're doing is good enough. Sabi nga po sa isang video na napanood ko, marami man silang lapses, may loopholes man sila, pero they are the best that we have as of the moment. So, we just be thankful for what they are doing. Kumbaga, wala rin naman talagang humiling sa kanila nun eh. Kumbaga, voluntarily po lahat yung ginagawa nila sa United Nations. Ayan. Ma'am, on what ground can we consider that UN is violating the sovereignty of one country? Or are there instances that sovereignty is violated due to UN's intervention? Ma'am, this could happen. I'm not very sure of the charter, but pwede po. pwede po na nakaka-violate sila ng sovereignty ng isang country. Pwede rin pong sa too much na pakikialam, nangyayari naman po talaga yon. Pero I believe, ma'am, that they have a very good charter. Kung may question doon, pwede pong reviewin yung kanilang charter, no, kung ano ba talaga yung laws na nakapaloob doon at tingnan kung meron po tayong nalalabag na batas in terms of our sovereignty. Yun po. Thank you po. That's all, Miss G. Thank you, Philomer. Thank you, Miss Jovel. Thank you to all the students who actively participated in the demo reel.
Thank you very much, Teacher Margo. Thank you to all our teachers. That's all the questions we have for now. Do you have any last reminders for our viewers today po?
Ayun nga po, para po sa lahat ng mga nanonood dyan, unang-una maraming salamat po ulit for being with us this afternoon. And once again, thank you po sa Vibal for having me again. Sa mga ka-Vibal natin dyan, you know po our schedule. We have the schedules all every week. So, tune in lang po kayo. And yun nga po, ako ang masishare ko ngayon sa inyo is, you know, when it comes to the idea of United Nations, siguro yun yung isa nating pwedeng i-inculcate sa isip ng mga bata, no, na the United Nations is not a competition but it's an organization representing you know, an organization representing different countries so that we can prevent, you know, the misunderstanding and disputes between different countries. This is for unity, kaya nga United Nations. So sana po ganun yung maipadala natin na mensahe, no? Siguro kasi ako sa totoo lang in my you know, during my high school days, hindi ko to narinig, no? Iba talaga yung idea of United Nations o baka nakalimutan ko lang, ganun. Pero po, yun, sana ngayon we have the chance to do this. Let us have one day in our classes for the Araling Panlipunan teachers dyan, from elementary to high school. I-discuss po natin ito ng bahagya para po magkaroon ng kaalaman. Knowledge on this will not harm our students. It will make them competitive. So, yun po. Sana ibahagi natin yung idea ng UN. At bigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon na magbigay ng kanilang kuro-kuro, ng kanilang idea. If UN ba needs to stay? Are they doing it or they're just wasting their money? Or mahalaga siya? So, at least this is something that, you know, they can stir up their minds po and their thoughts. Yun po, Ms. Chi. Thank you.
There we have it. In behalf of Vibal Group Incorporated, I'd like to thank our speaker for today for this indeed very interactive and insightful demo teaching session. It is an honor to have you again with us, Ma'am Palencia. And of course, special thanks to our very active teacher participants, Berting Beret, Don Calivoso, Philomer Piliapil, Jovil Barato, and John Carlo Abella. You may download our speaker's presentation in our chat box. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Vival Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli maraming salamat!